Hello everyone, today I would like to talk about our work in the field of Docker security, and my topic is understanding the security risk of Docker Hub. Let us start with the background. Nowadays, Docker has become increasingly popular because it provides efficient containers that are directly run by the host kernel. Docker Hub is one of the most popular Docker image repositories. Millions of images have been downloaded from Docker Hub billions of times. The popularity of Docker Hub, however, brings many attacks. In the past several years, a number of high-profile attacks that exploit this key channel of image distribution have been reported. Therefore, a comprehensive and in-depth security study of Docker Hub is demanded to help users understand the potential security risks. The study of Docker Hub differs from the ones of other ecosystems such as app stores and virtual machines, images, repositories in the following aspects. First of all, Docker images are studied through special instructions called run commands, which are security critical to the created containers. Second, the structures of Docker images are more complex than traditional applications. A single image can contain a large number of programs, environment variables, and configuration files. It is hard for traditional analysis to scan all images. Third, Docker images can bring new risks to not only the containers itself, but also the host, because the lightweight virtualization technology leveraged in containers allows the sharing of the kernel. Fourth, the vulnerability patching process of Docker images is significantly delayed because the programs are decoupled from the mainstream ones, and developers are less incentivized to update programs in Docker images. Author of mentioned the reference require a new study for the security of Docker Hub. The unique characteristics of Docker Hub call for an urgent study of its new security issues. However, a comprehensive and in-depth study entails overcoming multiple challenges. First, it is not clear how to analyze the security impacts of various categories of information on Docker Hub. For example, run commands are security critical to Docker containers, while a method for measuring the security impacts of run commands is still missing. This requires significant empirical analysis and manual effort. Second, obtaining and analyzing Docker images and the associated mental information in a scalable manner is not trivial. For example, it is difficult to perform a uniform analysis on Docker images. Since a Docker image contains a large number of files in a broad range of types, such as ELF, jar, and shell scripts. Based on the unique characteristics of Docker Hub, we first empirically identify three major security risks, namely sensitive parameters in run commands, malicious Docker images, and unpatched vulnerabilities. Then, we describe the threat model of our security analysis. As shown in this figure, there are two different characters of threats that Docker Hub may face. First of all, vulnerable images. Developers upload their images and the associated mental information to Docker Hub, which may contain vulnerabilities. If users download and run the vulnerable images, they are likely to become the targets of attackers who exploit vulnerabilities. Additionally, the run commands announced by developers may contain sensitive parameters. which may bring more security concerns, such as giving containers root access to the host. Malicious images attackers may upload their malicious images to Docker Hub, and sometimes, together with malicious run commands in the description of their images, due to the weak surveillance of Docker Hub, malicious images and metadata can easily hide themselves among benign ones. Once users download a malicious image and run it, they may suffer from attacks such as crypto mining. In this study, since it is mainly for measurement purpose, we assume that attackers are not aware of the techniques we employ to analyze Docker images. Otherwise, they can hide the malicious code by bypassing the analyze, leading to an arm race. In our security analysis, we focus on the key risk sources in Docker Hub, including run commands, sensitive parameters, entry files, and vulnerabilities. First of all, we collect a large-scale dataset, including the images and all the public information of Docker image from Docker Hub. After we collect this data, we obtain several previously ignored essentials for the raw data. Then, after we obtaining the set of essentials, we perform systematic security analysis on Docker Hub from various aspects. Our dataset contains all the public information of more than 900,000 repositories on Docker Hub. For each repository, the dataset contains the image files and the meta information. Furthermore, to support in-depth analysis, we further extract the following data and code for the collected raw data. For instance, the repository description. Second, the community rating for the repositories in the form of the number of stars and the polls, and so on. The comprehensive analysis enables us to have multiple insightful findings. The first question we aim to answer is, are users aware of the sensitive parameters when the parameters in run commands are visible to them? To answer this question, we conduct a user study to characterize the behaviors of users of Docker Hub, which allows us to understand user preference and the corresponding risks. Specifically, we surveyed 106 users, and 97% of them only focus on the functionality of images and have never raised doubts about the descriptions on Docker Hub, such as the developer identification, the run commands, and so on. It is worth noting that even for 68 users who have a background on security research, 95% of them trust the information provided on Docker Hub. Hence, we conclude that sensitive parameters are an overlooked risk source for Docker users. To demonstrate the security risks of sensitive parameters in practice, we developed a set of new attacks in Docker images that do not contain any malicious software. Our attacks relies on only run commands with sensitive parameters to attack the host. Note that we successfully uploaded these images with our malicious run commands to Docker Hub without any direction, confirming that Docker Hub does not carefully screen run commands. However, to avoid harm to the community, we immediately removed the sensitive parameters in the run commands after the uploading and performed the attacks in our local lab machines only. As described in this figure, we show how to leak user files in the host using sensitive parameters. Next, we study the distribution of sensitive parameters used in real images on Docker Hub. We observe that more than 18,000 repositories contain the recommended run commands in their descriptions on Docker Hub. However, on average, each run command contains one sensitive parameter. Given the common usage of sensitive parameters and their critical security impacts, it is urgent to improve users' awareness of potential security risks brought by sensitive parameters and propose effective vetting mechanisms to detect these risks. Then, we study malicious images by detecting malicious executed programs. First, we locate and extract executed programs from the Docker images. Second, we leverage VirusTotal to detect potentially malicious files. Third, we dynamically run the potentially malicious files to expose the security violations of such files. We first study the executed programs in the listed images in 147 official repositories, and we find that there are no malicious executed programs in these official images. Then, to facilitate in-depth analysis on community images, we extract two subsets from the collected dataset for studying the executed program. We locate more than 600,000 executed programs from the tested images. After deduplication, we get more than 30,000 unique executed programs, in which there exist certain malicious programs identified by our framework. The 30 malicious programs appears in 17 images. Next, we investigate the vulnerability in Docker images. We provide a definition of the lifecycle of vulnerability in Docker images and manually analyze the length of the time window of vulnerabilities in Docker images. We choose the latest 5 editions of the 15 most popular images and randomly sample other 15 Docker images to investigate the extra window of vulnerabilities in images. After analyzing the vital time of the 334 CVEs, we observe that it takes 181 days on average for common software to fix a vulnerability. However, the extra window of vulnerabilities in images is 422 days on average, while the longest extra window of vulnerabilities could be up to 1,685 days, which allows sufficient time for attackers to craft corresponding exploitations of the vulnerabilities in Docker images. Then we propose several possible methods to mitigate the threats uncovered in this paper. First of all, to mitigate attacks abusing sensitive parameters, one possible method is to design a framework which automatically identifies sensitive parameters and alerts users on the web pages of repositories description on Docker Hub. Second, to detect malicious images, traditional static and dynamic analysis such as signature-based method, system call tracing, and can be certainly helpful. Third, motivated by previous research, we believe that automatic updating is an effective way to mitigate the security risks from vulnerable images. However, many challenges do exist. For example, when detecting malicious images, if the redundant files of an image cannot be removed accurately, it will be extraordinarily time-consuming to analyze all of the files in an image by traditional methods. Next, I'd like to discuss the limitation of our approach and propose several directions for future works. First of all, one future direction to improve our work is to automatically identify malicious parameters in repositories descriptions. Second, we plan to include more automatic techniques to analyze malicious images that is future work. Third, how to emulate the Docker fingerprints to expose malicious behaviors can be an interesting future topic. Finally, let me conclude our talk. First of all, in this paper, we performed the first comprehensive study of Docker Hub ecosystem. We identified three major sources for the new security risks in Docker Hub. We collect a large-scale dataset containing both images and the associated mental information. This dataset allows us to discover novel security risks in Docker Hub, including the risks of sensitive parameters in repositories descriptions, malicious images, and the failure of fixing vulnerabilities in time. As the first systematic investigation on this topic, the insights presented in this paper are of great significance to understanding the state of Docker Hub security. Furthermore, our results make a call for actions to improve the security of Docker ecosystem in future. We believe that the dataset and the finding of this paper can serve as a key enabler for improvements of the security of Docker Hub. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.